And also not true when you look at percentages. That's the key point. Of course, there's going to be more cis, if you're going to use that language. But we're talking about a very small percentage of the population that is overrepresented in these sorts of crimes, particularly in the last few years, Ami. And I think denying that is part of the problem. If we're going to actually be tackling these issues in any meaningful way, we need to be having uncomfortable conversations centred on the truth. And that was really what Charlie Kirk was all about.
That's right. And they want to hide the truth. And the last point I'll make about the trans violence is that there is a, and I'll go quickly to Kirk himself and the lies about him, but they do want to push the agenda of trans people being killed in significantly larger numbers than cis people, which is simply not true. I actually did the work on this. I looked into it over the past couple of years, and there've only been a very, very small handful of trans people who had been murdered because they were trans. And by the way, the vast majority of them were black women killed by black men. There is not a single example that I could find, Rita, of a MAGA supporter, of a Trump supporter killing a trans person. Yet this is the narrative being pushed by the media, which leads to this culture of self-aggrievance that we've seen, which leads to this violence that we saw with Charlie Kirk, right? Because that was the lie made about him. So yes, the lies about Charlie Kirk are legion. They're so significant, in fact, that factcheck.org, a leftist organization which lies all the time, including about me, including about Sky News Australia, had to actually do a list of things that were lied about Charlie Kirk because so much of it was out there. They called him, for example, a white supremacist. He was the opposite of a white supremacist, right? He fought and kicked out a group from Turning Point called the Groypers, who are actually white supremacists. He was called... Stephen King, whose books, by the way, I will never read again, said he wanted to stone gay people. Another massive, scurrilous lie against him. They talked about his Asian hate. Zero. Untrue. And they talked about his anti-Semitism. And as a Jew, I think my antennas are kind of up about that. He was a supporter of Israel. He was a philo-Semite, Rita. And the only example they can use for him saying something anti-Semitic was he said Jewish money was involved in liberal causes, causing more anti-Semitism. Fact check, true, not anti-Semitic. Things that are true are not racist or anti-Semitic. They are what we call facts.
Absolutely. And as on Asians, and I can speak about that, he was a huge campaigner for having some sort of meritocracy in the entrance systems of universities, because Asians are amongst the biggest group who are disadvantaged when you are not getting in on merit, on what your academic achievement is, but what minority box other than Asian that you're ticking. Now, Tyler Robinson is facing the death penalty. Tell me about the charges he faced today and the FBI's efforts in particular to uncover anyone else who may have been complicit in this act of political violence.
Yeah, he's charged with a number of things, including the capital felony of aggrieved murder, which is the single largest charge you could have in Utah, which is basically it can range from the death sentence to life imprisonment. And by the way, I'm not sure, while I'm certainly a supporter of the death penalty in certain cases, and I think this might in fact be one of the cases I would support it in, because he wasn't just trying to kill somebody, he was trying to start a war. He's trying to tear the fabric of this country apart by this killing. But I'm not sure which is worse, which is him having the death penalty or sitting in jail for, since he's 21, maybe upwards of 70 years, watching what he tried to kill actually take root in this country and bloom. And I'm talking about the ideals of Charlie Kirk. We've seen across the world, not just the country, the world, people picking up the mantle of Charlie Kirk. So maybe it'll be worse for him to see that live for the rest of his long life in jail. I'm not sure. But I think what's even more interesting, because I think with Tyler Robinson, it's pretty clear cut. The evidence seems, in terms of DNA evidence, it all seems that he will, in fact, be prosecuted and he will go to jail or be killed for this. But I think what's interesting is the FBI is looking into accomplices or people who've actually hid the evidence, right? And I think that if you go into this chat group that he had, I think a lot of things start happening. First of all, chalk this up to things on the internet never go away, folks. You may try to delete it, but how dumb are you not to know that this thing is still sitting on some server somewhere in the air? But I guess they don't know how tech works, even though they're all, kind of involved in the tech world, right, in the gaming world. But look, there are numerous examples of these people talking as long as a month before this exact date of Charlie Kirk's assassination. So that's either an incredible coincidence.
I have seen
and I
that.
don't really believe in incredible coincidence, or they knew something in advance. And I think this is all going to come out because at the least,
I think the FBI. I think the FBI is going to track down every single lead. They're not going to leave a single stone unturned. Ami Horowitz, thank you so much for your time tonight.